Perfect day for football, and they've been tailgating outside the stadium for hours. It is a sellout crowd, 75,000 plus at Mile High Stadium, the 95th consecutive sellout here in Denver. And they're getting ready, the crowd being revved up as the Denver Broncos get set to go against the Los Angeles Raiders. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, official U.S. cars and trucks of the 14th Olympic Winter Games. Chevrolet and you taking charge. By Kmart, we've got the brand names, we've got the selection, and we've got the price. And by Canon, manufacturer of advanced plain paper copiers. And we welcome you to Denver, Colorado. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert along with John Brody. And John, today a matchup of one club, the Los Angeles Raiders, with the best defensive record in the NFL. They're 3-0 coming off the victory over Miami. The other club, the Broncos, at 2-1 with the worst offensive record in the NFL going into today's play. John Elway showed some flashes of excellence in the loss last Sunday here to the Philadelphia Eagles, but could be in for a very rough afternoon.
Well, to say that John Elway's introduction into the National Football League has been on a nice smooth gradient would be overstating the case, to say the least. But he is improving. He doesn't have the luxury of being able to have others around him help out and get the job done. If they're going to beat the Raiders, he's got to do it with his arm, and I'd say the gradient is a bit too swift right now.
And what about that swarming Raider defense? They have given up only 30 points the first 3 games of the season.
And the story is those two bookends are something special. Lyle Alzado's been an outstanding pass rusher for years, but now Greg Townsend has picked off and is equal to him at this level. Bill Pickel's another one that's giving him good surge up the middle, and John Elway is going to have to get there today under the most difficult of circumstances.
And the Denver Broncos getting set to kick off to the Los Angeles Raiders, who won the toss. Rich Carlos with the approach, and we're underway in Denver. Greg Pruitt out across the 15-yard line. So the 11-year veteran out of Oklahoma setting up 1st and 10 for the Raiders. Jim Plunkett at quarterback. Marcus Allen coming off his first 100-yard game of the season on Monday against Miami in the backfield with Kenny King. Cliff Branch, who has been dissatisfied that Plunkett has not been throwing his way. The tight end Todd Christensen has been seeing much of the action, and that offensive line anchored by the center, Dave Dalby. 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. And Plunkett to throw on 1st down, and going deep for the tight end. Intended for Christensen. Dennis Smith, the strong safety, number 49, got a piece of it to break it up.
You know, it's a strange feeling, but the last time, this game almost looks like a mismatch. As good as the Raiders have been playing, and as mediocre as the Broncos have been playing, and we do know they play pretty well at home. The last time it was this way, they got blown out of the tub, the Raiders did, by the Broncos. Stabler threw 7 interceptions, and those 4 linebackers were very instrumental.
And a look at the Denver secondary. Key injuries suffered by Denver defensively without Rulon Jones and without Bob Swenson now for a couple of weeks. Marcus Allen. Allen across the 25-yard line. So picked up 7. It'll be a 3rd down and 3. Tom Jackson in on the stop.
And Marcus Allen is some kind of treasure. He not only can run the ball as well as anybody in the game, but as a pass receiver, I don't think he has an equal as a back coming out of the backfield.
The ball is spotted at the 26-yard line. Called on a 3rd down and 2. And here's Allen. Randy Grettershaw on the stop. We'll have to check and see. It looks like the Raiders come up short, although they are calling for the yardstick.
It's a formality, Marv. They're definitely a foot short, maybe 2. You never can tell till you see the spot. But
Oh, you're pulling back.
No, that spot's definitely short.
As I said, definitely short.
And here's little 3rd and 2. That's a difficult situation. He's got Marcus Allen, who made a pretty good block on the linebacker, but by the time Hanna tried to get to Gradishar, King was already there.
And Ray Guy is back at his 13-yard line. Ray had the back problems last year, his punting average dropping down. Average 47 against Miami on Monday night, and he is booting to Zach Thomas, the rookie from South Carolina State. An excellent Ray Guy hang time. Fair catch for Thomas. So Denver to the offense for the first time. It is a 30-yard punt, which really does not tell the story because it did not allow a run back. John Elway with Sammy Winder, who was held in check last week by the Eagles. 10 carries, 4 yards, along with Rick Parros in the backfield. The receivers up Church, Watson, and Jim Wright. Wright caught 4 last week against Philadelphia. And Studdard, Bishop, Bryant, Howard, and Lanier. They shift out of the eye. First down from the 32. Sammy Winder. Winder had some good days earlier in the season in the opener. 96 yards, 20 carries against Pittsburgh. Ken Hendricks right there to stop him.
And when you talk about the Raider defensive line, these fellas all play interchangeably depending on the situation. Long, Alzado, Townsend, and Piquel are a fierce pass rush when the 4 of them are in there together, but it might seem like you're going to get all 6 at once the way they've been playing.
Winder picked up 8. It's a 2nd down and 2. And this time the Raider defense right there to stop Winder, led by Howie Long, number 75, and the Mad Stork, number 83, Ted Hendricks. It is short of a first. No, they say they picked it up. They did pick up the first down as you look at the rest of that Raider defense.
A couple of certain all-pros on the ends there, and Hendricks and Martin. Lester Hayes has been playing back to his form of a couple years ago.
The back split now, and now Winder is flanked to the left. The lone deep back is Rick Parros. That's Parros. Rick Parros in his 3rd year out of Utah State, averaging 3 yards per carry. Matt Millen and Mike Davis on the tackle. John Elway yet to put one up. Last week, 18 for 33, 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And as we said at the top, showed some signs at the end, but also heard some boos.
What I like so far the best is that they're getting out of the huddle a whole lot quicker than they have been in the past 3 games, and that's very important for a young quarterback.
2nd down 5, 47-yard line. Short setup for Elway. So he's 1 for 1 as he clicks with Rick Upchurch. And another first down for the Denver Broncos, a 15-yard pass play.
It's a little down and in. He knows he's got to get started with a quick pitch. Don't let those defensive linemen get in their starting blocks and get a sack early, get a completion. I've always thought that the best thing in the world for a quarterback to do to get people settled down is get a completion. I don't care if it's to your back for 4 yards or no gain. Get something on the board quick, and he did.
And now Elway with a first down at the Raider 38-yard line. That's Watson in motion. And Parros. Stopped by Lyle Alzado and Bob Nelson. Lyle Alzado, who spent some of the glory years here with the Denver Broncos.
Well, the people in Denver know number 77 very well, but He is, in my opinion, the most durable defensive lineman that's played in this game for several years. He has played up at a level far superior to many defensive ends for an awful long time. Whenever he gets a little help, he'll show you what he can do. Now he's got some help in Piquel and Townsend, and they're awesome.
Crowd reacting. You may have heard it in the background to the announcement that it was Alzado on the stop. 2nd down 9. Nathan Poole is stopped.
And they're going to hear it again.
Yes. Lyle Alzado, who is down in the books this season for 4 sacks, he claims he has 5. So I think he'll be checking the films.
You ever hear a guy claim he's had less than he's been offered?
No.
I'll tell you, there were a few times in the Cup in the last few weeks when it looked like the whole bunch had a team meeting back there at the quarterback. So they have to divide them up in sections sometimes, and maybe he got slighted.
What's amazing about the Raider defensive record, they've given up 30 points in 3 games. Only 3 points have been allowed in the first half in those 3 games. Meaningless touchdown scored by Miami on Monday. 3rd down and 9. And Elway for Upchurch. The collision between Upchurch, McElroy, and Watts to break it up.
Van McElroy took both Watts and Upchurch out of that play.
However, there's a penalty marker thrown down. Rod Martin discussing it.
Holding number 54. Decline. 4th down.
So the hold is declined as announced by the referee Dick Jorgensen. And the punting unit makes its way onto the field for the Denver Broncos.
Let's take a look. You see Rick kind of breaks past Watts real early, but when John went to throw the ball, it looked to me like it floated on him. Never did have much zip on it, and because of that, I think McElroy was able to get in and break it up. Otherwise, it would have been 6.
All right, Greg Pruitt awaits this punt from Luke Prestridge. Looking to angle. So Prestridge able to angle it out. Penalty marker down. They are spotting it at the 14-yard line. It's a 23-yard punt angled out. And let's see, apparently the ball will be spotted at the 14. Plus a holding penalty.
They're about ready to break even on the play. You know, this is a sort of ball game, Marv. Sometimes early in the game, it's time to have a go at it. It's 4th down and 8 yards to go. If you have a chance and you have a play that you may be able to pick a 1st down up on 4th down, that might have been a perfect time to use it because they definitely are outmanned.
Chevy Tough is taking charge with a big USA 1 truck sell-a-thon. We're out to sell 75,000 trucks by October 1st with 200,000 trucks from coast to coast. This is dealing time. And year-end allowances on 83s can mean great clearance prices. Get specially equipped Chevy S10 pickups and maxi cabs with V6 engine at no extra cost. Or buy specially equipped full-size pickups with automatic transmission or air conditioning at no extra cost. USA 1 sell-a-thon at your Chevy dealers now.
Someday soon, you could very well have the best of everything. But you will have to begin somewhere. And the best place to begin is with the very best beer in the world. The best tasting beer wherever you go. When you think about it, why would you ever have anything else?
Come to think of it, I'll have a Heineken.
Called on James Davis, so the Raiders will start up 1st down at their 7-yard line. And the chant for defense from 75,000 here at Mile High. Jim Plunkett, who came off a very poor preseason to turn it around. This is Marcus Allen. Ankle tackled at the 12, so a 5-yard advance, and it's a 2nd down and 5. Steve Foley, the free safety, on the stop.
Okay, it looks like there are 4 down linemen. Now, Denver generally only uses 3 with linebackers in the gaps. This time, they used 4. Foley coming up to pursue from his from his free safety position, made a fine play. It could have been a big game.
This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast of the use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the NFL is prohibited. Here's Allen. Out to the 15, Marcus Allen. Always runs with that dramatic flair. Stopped by Dennis Smith, the strong safety, and the outside linebacker, Jim Ryan, who has taken over for the injured Bob Swenson, another key injury suffered by Denver.
You can never afford an injury such as that to either Rulon Jones or Swenson. But I tell you what Denver does have and has had for quite a while. They've got defensive backs that are outstanding tacklers. Dennis Smith, Lewis Wright, Foley has been a good tackler for years, and Harden is coming along fast.
It's a 3rd down and 2 at the 15. And here's Plunkett. Intended for Allen. So the Denver defense holding the Raiders. And we'll see Ray Guy once again.
Really good defensive secondary coverage, Marv. Plunkett's back there. He's had to come off to Allen 2 or 3 times, and when he didn't, he really didn't have Todd Christensen open earlier in the ball game. There has been no one running free in that secondary.
And you see Ray Guy back at his goal line. He'll punt to Zach Thomas, free agent acquisition. He had a 42-yard kickoff return against Pittsburgh on opening day, so Zach can break him. Not what Guy had in mind, but gets a roll. So Ray Guy putting it across the 35-yard line. It's a 52-yard punt by Guy with the roll.
Chevrolet Caprice Classic, the only full-size car picked last year by Car and Driver magazine as one of the 10 best cars you can buy. Chevrolet Caprice. Compare the deep cushion comfort, the luxury, the ride, the full-sized room. It's an exceptional value. You can spend more for a car, but why in the world would you? Chevrolet! And you. Taking charge.
Digital readouts, onboard computer diagnostics, advanced electronics developed by General Motors for the 747. Now many of the same engineers are building the same technology into new GM cars and trucks. So you and your car can drive smarter.
In a world premiere movie, she gives her love to any man who has the price that's tearing her apart. Hill Street's Veronica Hamill in Sessions, Monday.
Along with John Brody, this is Marv Albert from Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado. Denver has lost 4 straight here at home. That includes 3 last year, the longest such losing streak since they last lost 4 in a row back in 1972. Denver first down at their 33-yard line. That's Watson in motion. And here's Winder. Sammy Winder got a yard. Reggie Kinlaw and Rod Martin. What a game Martin had on Monday against Miami.
You know, it was noticed last Monday, but he's had so many good games throughout the years. In the previous 2 ball games this year, he was named the team captain. They think that much of him. Now, you know how Ted Hendricks has been to this group over the past several years and being the captain, but Rod Martin and Ted Hendricks on the same team have to be as good as any 2 have ever been on the same group, and that takes into account some awfully good linebackers.
He had 2 sacks, 8 tackles, the big hit to unleash Townsend. Again, Watson in motion, and Elway on the drop. What do you think, John?
That's the sort of thing John would like to have over. He made a good play. He's the kind of quarterback that's got a lot of nifty to him. He can get out of spots such as when there's a good pass rush, but when he does, it's what he does with the ball that's going to dictate, you know, the way he's feeling and how comfortable he is. That ball he threw off the wrong foot at the wrong time to a receiver that was wide open, and it actually stopped their drive. It looked like Winder would pick up a certain first down.
Was the Denver offense too complex for a rookie like Elway? I know that Dan Reeves has gotten away from the complicated system.
Well, what he's doing is he's getting the plays called quicker, which has given John a much better chance. I don't think it's too complex. The same plays are called by every team. It's just the nomenclature that can be a little tough.
Intended for Steve Watson. Covered by the free safety, McElroy, and the quarterback, Watts.
Take a look. Here's a man a lot of people have been talking about from TCU, Greg Townsend. Real fast at 250 pounds. Strong as he's strong as can be, but Lanier took good care of him on that play.
And Luke Prestridge back to punt for the second time this afternoon. Greg Pruitt, there he is, back at his 20-yard line. No score halfway through the first quarter, and Pruitt able to recover. Little spinning tackle out at the 33-yard line by Keith Bishop. So there's a timeout. It's a 37-yard punt. When we return, it'll be Raiders to the offense.
If you want it,
I like it.
if you really like it,
I really like it.
we can help you get it. We're GMAC.
I want it.
We're GMAC Financing.
GMAC has helped more people buy their new GM car or truck than anyone, with rates that make sense on models people want. All at your GM dealer.
If you really want it, we can help you get it. We're GMAC Financing.
We got it.
A bedtime story from Gaviscon Antacid. Once there was a guy who loved poker and pizza, and he was really good
Full house.
at eating pizza. But the stakes were high.
Heartburn.
Fortunately, there was help.
Gaviscon.
Gaviscon gives you fast relief from heartburn and acid indigestion, and it even works lying down.
See you and raise you, pepperoni.
Try Gaviscon. It even works lying down.
And welcome back to Denver, and we'd like to welcome KOBI and KOTI to NBC, serving the Southern Oregon and Northern California regions. We welcome you, fellas. We hope you're enjoying the game. First down from the 33 for the Los Angeles Raiders. Plunkett again to throw. First down. And he tried to lob it off to Kenny King.
Maybe he threw it too hard for him. I'm telling you, Plunkett has more motions than any quarterback's ever played the game. It's liable to come out of his hip pocket someday. This time he knows he's trying to go downfield. He's very nifty back there. He's like tackling a flat rock for openers. And then when you do hit him, he's usually as strong as you are. This ball, he just is taking as much off it as he can. King can't quite handle it. Big play going for naught.
And Denver doing some shuffling. Up front, they have Walt Boyer, number 65, a rookie out of Arizona State, and along with Carter, Latimer, and Manor. What's time for Plunkett? Oh, beautiful catch, but short of the first down. Again, the tight end, Todd Christensen, who leads the club in receptions. He caught 6 last Monday against the Dolphins.
Got a good spot, and he's got about a foot to go for a first down.
It'll be a third and about a foot.
Let's take a look at what Plunkett is seeing here. He's got a double zone coverage, 5 men underneath, 2 in the deep zones. He's got enough time to look around, finally finds Christensen on the right side, almost a first. Here they are.
And the crowd urging on the Denver defense. This is Marcus Allen, first down and some more. Out near midfield. Allen on the slant. Stopped by Randy Gradishar.
Here is a man that changed a franchise around. He started last year against the San Francisco 49ers, gained 124 yards in his opening day, and has picked up ever since. I think he is the premier back in this game right now, and that's saying quite a bit. But with 2 real good pass rushers and 1 great running back, the Raider franchise has changed drastically.
And And he has given them a first down at the 49-yard line. Play action for Plunkett. And he's throwing to an offensive lineman.
Well, he threw to two of them. You take your pick.
Bruce Davis, number 79, was the intended receiver.
You know what's funny is I know that Jim just says to his backs, hey, after you block, just slide out. When I'm in trouble, just kind of fade away, and I'll find one of you. That time he had both backs out of the backfield, so he had nobody to slide off. Here's Kenny King going up, trying to help him on the inside, so he's not really available for much help. He's trying to get to the outside. Bruce Davis did a good job just to fall on it. It looked like it could have been lateral.
Tough picking up the call from the referee, Dick Jorgensen. But it will be a 2nd and 10 at the 49-yard line.
Why is it 2nd and 10? Did they pick those up?
We'll have to check it out. We're having some audio problems down on the field. All right, here's Plunkett. Steve Foley. So Foley on the intercept, his 2nd of the season, and the Broncos will take over. Kenny King making the tackle on Foley. A timeout called. It'll be Denver ball when we return.
Chevy Tough is taking charge. Moisture and road salt are murder on a pickup. But Tough Chevy S10 comes with built-in corrosion-fighting zinc-coated steel to help guard against rust. While Ford Ranger uses about 93 square feet, Chevy S10 gives you almost 3 times more zinc-treated steel, about 277 square feet. For year-round protection, Chevy S10's got you covered with tough corrosion-fighting steel. And now Chevy has 200,000 trucks coast to coast with year-end allowances on 83s. It's dealing time.
Some things speak for themselves.
NFL 83 is coming at you with a special doubleheader. The LA Raiders take on the Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins, or the explosive San Diego Chargers battle the New York Giants, plus hard-hitting regional action on NBC.
Steve Foley, who just picked off Jim Plunkett to give Denver the ball. First down at the 45-yard line. Sandy Winder and Rick Barros are the setbacks. Steve Watson in motion. Look out. Elway able to elude the rush. Incomplete. The hard hit by the strong safety Mike Davis on the intended receiver, Steve Watson.
Yeah, but a guy of Steve Watson's ability catches 90% of those and should have had that one. When you have nobody in between the thrower and the receiver, coming from the back shouldn't bother a real top receiver, and it hasn't bothered Watson very often. Elway makes a nice play to just to get around Rod Martin. When he does, makes a perfect throw, all for naught.
That penalty a moment ago, in which we had an audio problem with the referee's microphone, ineligible receiver, the offensive lineman Davis. Sammy Winder is tripped up at the 45-yard line, and the penalty was declined, setting up that 2nd
Look at
and
this.
10.
Dallas ekes out again. It looked like New Orleans had him, let him off the hook, but I guess it's not quite over. So,
and Cincinnati with its first victory of the season. Tampa Bay is now 0-4. St. Louis beating Philadelphia. It's an odd score.
Yes, it is.
And Buffalo clobbering Houston. So the Oilers at 0-4. Minnesota beating Detroit. 3rd down and 9 from the 46-yard line. And Upchurch on a reverse. Does not work. We were told that Denver might go for several gadget-type plays today we may see much of the arsenal against the Raiders.
Well,
Lester Hayes had that one right on target.
The problem with a play like that, there has to be some flow going in the other direction. Now, when it's a passing situation, as that one was, there isn't going to be anybody fooled with a drop-back pass. Everybody's going in their area. The problem, they got the guards out in front of it, and they didn't hit anybody. That's why Rick was called for no gain.
So 3.5 left first quarter with no score. Here's Greg Pruitt awaiting the Luke Prestridge punt. Pruitt back at his 10. High snap for Prestridge and boots it from his 40-yard line. Again angling, but this one carries in.
Marv, that's 3 times excellent field position. Denver has been able to make nothing of it. That won't last all day.
A 52-yard punt by Prestridge. So the Raiders will take over at their 20-yard line.
Without ceremony, a badge is awarded to the Mercedes-Benz automobiles that reach 200,000, 500,000, and 1 million kilometers. Mileage they reach with proper care under some unceremonious conditions. The million-kilometer badge is the final badge given. After that, Mercedes-Benz high mileage is its own reward.
Who makes the best-selling radials in America? Goodyear. We outsell all foreign radials combined. One reason, the Goodyear Arriva. It gives you long tread life. And best of all season traction in the wet stuff and the white stuff. The Goodyear all-season Arriva. It's one reason Goodyear is the leader in radials. No foreign maker of radials even comes close. Goodyear, #1 in radials.
Don't miss the very best in baseball. The pennant races are hot, and you'll be there for the key games, the crucial matchups. Find out if they're contenders or pretenders. Only on NBC Sports.
Next Saturday, start the day with Major League Baseball, an inside look as we continue to follow the pennant races, and then the baseball game of the week as the pennant races come to a close, and NBC will be right there for the key games. Next Saturday here on NBC Sports. LA Raiders first down at the 20-yard line, 3:10 left, first quarter, no score here in Denver. And Plunkett to throw on first down again, going deep. He had Malcolm Barnwell out in the clear. Mike Harden was left behind.
Well, Malcolm Barnwell will come down with most of those balls, but when Harden fell down, the two of them ran into each other unintentionally, and it knocked Barnwell off balance. As a result, he could not gather himself to get the ball. It was very frustrating for him, I'm sure, but Plunk makes a beautiful throw. This ball could have been taken on the dead run. It's up in the air. You're throwing it in this real thin air. So it's really hard to judge. He actually would have hit him on the dead run had he not fallen down.
Plunkett is now 2 for 8, intercepted 1 time, as a second down and 10. Frank and Barnwell are the receivers. That's Barnwell in motion. And this is Allen. Hit behind the line, back behind the 20. The outside linebacker, number 50. There he is, Jim Ryan, in his 5th year out of William & Mary.
Hey, all 4 of those linebackers, it seems like whoever they insert as a new linebacker, and we know so much about Gradishar and Jackson. Now with Busick and Ryan coming into the act, they're playing right up to the level of the other 2. We've seen it for years. Okay, pretty good blocking at the point of attack, but when your linebacker slips underneath, as we see Todd Christensen, the tight end, number 46, gets his block, but the linebacker slipped underneath and stopped the play for no gain.
Todd in his 5th year out of Brigham Young. Delighted about the fortunes of Brigham Young yesterday afternoon. 3rd down and 10. Plunkett in trouble. So the Broncos coming up with their first sack combination of Reuben Carter, the nose tackle, and Bryson Matter. So once again, the Bronco defense looking sharp, stopping the Raiders.
Well, they're mixing up their defense. Sometimes they come with 5, sometimes with 4. This time they just did it with a pass rush line, 4 down linemen. They don't usually do that. They usually rush 3. If they're coming with 4 quite a bit today, it's given the offensive line a little problem, and Plunkett more yet.
And the Broncos have had to shuffle even more because Barney Shavis, we're told, has a pulled hamstring, and he is out right now. Here's Ray Guy. Zach Thomas, 40-yard line. And out to the 44. So Guy, with a 46-yard punt, he has been unleashing them. Jim Davis on the stop, but a flag is thrown.
Now, the Broncos have had excellent field position. This is the 4th time in a row. You'd expect some points to be placed on the board normally in situations like that. I think right now it's more the Broncos' ineptness than it is the Raiders' ability.
And you know, it's been a low-key season thus far penalty-wise for the Raiders. Things are going so well, even penalties have dropped off. Only 16 penalties compared to 33 a year ago have been assessed to the Raiders through the first 3 games. All right, someone left too soon.
4th down.
And they're going to do it over. Also a penalty call on the Broncos. So offsetting penalties, and Guy will kick again. You know, the Raiders have not yet been hit with a personal foul this year.
Well, they've always been a clean bunch of kids. So, you know, the cleanest on the block. I really think that, you know, because they wear black jerseys doesn't necessarily make them bad boys. I happen to think they're a great football team. I don't know how dirty they are.
Well, they have that reputation, but they've been clean. And a beautiful punt by Guy. And does not allow the return. Zach Thomas chasing it down, and it skipped away, and they're marking it at the 16-yard line. Again, a flag down. We have that as a 60.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52, kicking team.
Well, there's the first.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 52, kicking team. Penalties, offset, happened.
Well, that was the
first down.
The first personal foul call on the Raiders.
All you have to do is mention it, right, Marv?
But again, once again, a penalty also called on Denver, so they offset. Baltimore leading Chicago. Rams and Jets are tied at 7 at Shea in New York. Cleveland in front of San Diego.
Brian Sipe having another good year.
Washington leading Seattle. There's Winder. So a 2-yard pickup. Reggie Kinlaw on the stop of Winder. It'll be a 2nd down and 8. And now the word that Ray Guy's punt went 57 yards. That is the official count. He's having quite a first quarter.
You said that right. He's had a lot of great first quarters.
But as mentioned before, coming off what was for Ray Guy a so-so season because of the back problem.
Right.
Less than a minute remaining. First quarter, no score. Nathan Poole now in the backfield with Sammy Winder. This is Poole, and Elway had to improvise on that one as he hit Nathan Poole.
That's the kind of ability that you can't teach. I mean, here's a kid whose reactions are so fast that he sees a blitzing linebacker, has no chance to get around him, yet stands up right in his face and throws the ball over the top of his head. Now that's Ted Hendricks. He's not only batted a lot of balls down, but quarterbacks with him. Now he had the nerve to stand in there in front of it, move a little, complete the ball. That's a great play.
So John Elway able to hit Poole for the first down. It's a first down at the 29-yard line. Denver Broncos coming at 2-1. Lost to the Eagles last week. Victories over Pittsburgh and Baltimore. This first quarter has come to a close. Denver and Los Angeles scoreless.
Jimmy, it can go anywhere. GMC Jimmy, it can even go there. Give me a Jimmy.
confidence? You're looking at it. I can replace your old muffler with a Sears muzzler for only $19.99 plus labor, warranted for as long as you own the car. If it fails, we'll replace it free.
Want confidence in your brakes? I've been installing it for years. We'll give you a two-wheel brake job for only $69.99 for most American and import cars.
There's more for your car.
Confidence installed day and night.
There's more for your life at Sears.
You know, the secret to a comfortable retirement is really no secret. You need a smart investment firm to help you get there.
And the best way to find that investment firm is to ask a lot of questions.
Katie and I asked.
And the more we asked, the more good things we heard about one company, Dean Witter.
We heard about the quality of their financial advice and programs.
We heard they really listen, really care.
For us, Dean Witter was worth asking about.
Dean Witter, worth asking about.
All right, a look at the stats in the first quarter. And neither club really able to get going. Scoreless first quarter. John Elway now 2 for 7. 27 yards. Has a first down at the 29. Sammy Winder. Nice change of direction. Stopped by Van.
There goes Alzado.
Yep, look out. Alzado getting involved with a couple of Broncos.
It's the center, Bishop.
And Lyle, who heard it from the crowd earlier when they announced his name on his first tackle of the day, is hearing it once again.
Well, I'll tell you what happened, Marv, is Keith Bishop, starting at the guard position, made a block on him, ran him down the field about eight yards, and maintaining his block, and no defensive end really likes that. Lyle got a little physical with him. He didn't cowtail to him. He just took after him, and a fight was the result.
Lyle Alzado, a member of the 1977 Broncos that went to the Super Bowl.
Personal foul, roughness, 77. Defense, personal foul, roughness, 54.
So the personal fouls on both Keith Bishop, a third-year man out of Baylor, and Lyle Alzado, the one-time Denver Bronco.
Yep. So I think the ball's going to go back, and they're going to play it all over. If that happens, that's just like penalizing the Broncos. We'll see. They didn't. They left it right where the play ended. It was after the play, and they didn't make a penalty.
All right, so the official ruling that it did occur clearly after the play. That's the interpretation. Not a continuation.
Lyle got off lucky.
2nd down and 1. At the 38, Nathan Poole is the lone D-back. Winder in the slot. And here's Watson in motion. This is Poole. And he has the first down. Driving Nathan Poole in his 4th season out of Louisville. Stopped by the linebacker, Bob Nelson. Baltimore Colts now lead the Chicago Bears 16-6 in the 4th quarter. That is an improved Baltimore team, as we saw against Denver 2 weeks back. Washington leading Seattle. Redskins will take on the Raiders at RFK in Washington next week. First down at the 41. Marv Albert, John Brody, Denver, Colorado. We're early 2nd quarter. Off the draw, Sammy Winder. Mike Davis, the strong safety, on the tackle.
Real good running by Winder. You can see even on a 1st and 10, those defensive linemen say, hey, let's get to the quarterback. We'll make something happen. A good play can be a draw even if you haven't thrown the ball when you've got guys in their starting blocks on every down.
Winder back in sync after he was held in check by the Eagles last week after the good games against Pittsburgh and Baltimore. 2nd down and 3 after the 7-yard pickup by Winder. Play action, and Elway is swarmed under. First sack of the day by the Raiders. Lyle Alzado.
He's loving what that is just a little reminder to the people that maybe they shouldn't have rid themselves of Mr. Alzado. He loved it here in Denver. He's playing just as well as he ever did. Got right by Weiner. That was not a very good block for a back. You've got to get help to your backside, and sometimes when it's the back's turn, they've got to pitch in.
So Lyle now has 5, although he will claim he has 6 sacks. 3rd down and 10. Back at the 41.
He'll probably claim that Keith Bishop also held him.
Too much time. Delay of game. This is a problem that the Denver Broncos have faced throughout the season.
Delay. Offense. Still 3rd down.
We talked about their delay problem, Marv, when they were in Baltimore, and Dan Reeves is aware of it, and they have handled it pretty well by sending in the formation real early, getting the plays done real early. This is the first time they violated that or had that problem in 2 games, and I think you'll see a lot less of it.
All right, the rookie Clint Sampson out of San Diego State, flanked wide to the right. Elway goes the middle, beautiful catch. Zach Thomas on the reception, but short of a 1st down. Otis McKinney, the nickel back, on the stop.
This is the kind of ball that John will be throwing a little less hard in the future. Now, right now, I think a lot of his balls are being thrown with a little too much velocity on them. You can see he's firing that ball a little harder than he has to. It makes it very difficult on a receiver coming across the middle to get his control of the ball and pick up the 1st.
So Luke Prestridge for the 4th time today. He's back at his 31-yard line. Greg Pruitt is back deep. And a beautiful Denver hop to put the Raiders in a hole inside their 5. 49-yard punt by Prestridge.
This computer makes sure everything fits like it's supposed to. And when things fit right, they work right. You're going to love the way things fit.
At Ford Motor Company, we've made quality job one. We're building the highest quality cars and trucks of any manufacturer in America. Come drive the quality.
You're gonna love the quality Ford. Quality is job one.
I love it.
Tonight you're still a bachelor. Tomorrow's almost here. So I'm still a free man. Let's bring on the beer. Whoa, whoa. On this night to remember. It's so clear. You deserve to celebrate with more taste than beer. The bull's got a taste so big, so bold, so smooth. Let's all party with the Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull. Don't say beer, say bull. Hey, gang, how about another bull? No one does it like the bull.
So be there.
Tonight.
Well, John, the Denver Broncos had their team photo taken earlier this week, and Bill Harpo, the Denver equipment manager, usually likes to design what he labels a bizarre setting for the team photo. So I don't see anything wrong, though, with what the man did, John. Do you?
Some guys said you look better.
Several guys. Plural. Back to the field quickly. So the 49-yard punt by Prestridge, putting the Raiders back at 1st down at their 4-yard line. Penalty markers down as the play is stopped.
False start, number 79.
And the false start called on the left tackle, Bruce Davis.
Well, the Raiders offensively have got to get something going, because not only is Denver flat offensively, but the Raiders have been able to do nothing against the Bronco defense. And you know that a group as explosive as the Raiders are not going to be held in check all day long, but you get to wonder with the ease that the Bronx are doing it.
Coming into today's play, the Denver defense, overall number 6 in the AFC. And they have played very well this first half. Kenny King unable to get outside. Could not make the turn against number 31, the quarterback, Mike Martin.
And that's a big couple of yards, Marv. If you can keep a team inside their 2-yard line, that's a lot different than just inside the 5. The reason being, when they go to punt, they're only going to have about 10 yards. They've got to get it off very quick, and a block is a good possibility.
2nd down and 12, back at the 2. Marcus Allen nearly got caught back behind the goal line. Again, the Denver defense swarming all over the Raiders.
That's a couple of ex-teammates. Dennis Smith helping Marcus Allen out. I can remember the day that Ronnie Lott, another ex-teammate of Marcus, said, "I can hardly wait to play the man because I would like to give him one good hit just for respect." Well, if you can give him any, it's a pretty tough trick. I can remember watching the whole day and Lott forgot to get him.
And a 3rd down at about 12.
It's heating up.
Now King on the slant. And Ray Guy will have to boot it out of his end zone.
Don Latimer going to leave next year, but he's playing as well as he's ever played. Number 72 in the middle of that line. It's pretty tough to move people around.
And Ray Guy is about as deep as he can go. He is underneath the goalpost. Zach Thomas at midfield. Guy gets a beauty off. Here's Thomas. Out to the 45-yard line, but once again, and a penalty marker throw. Once again, Denver has the good field position. A 46-yard punt by Guy. James Davis on the stop of Thomas.
And it looks like the Broncos are going to be aided by a penalty. Squarick came down there, and it looked like he took a shot at Thomas. We're going to have to wait and see, but that's what it appeared to me.
As the officials talk things over. Today, a matchup of 2 original AFL clubs. This is a series that began back in 1960, and the Raiders with a commanding lead. They've won 32. Denver's won 11. There have been 2 ties. This game reminiscent of the game that took place here back in 81 when Denver won by the score of 9-7.
I was wrong, Marv.
All right, here is Dick Jorgensen.
Illegal block in the back. Number 45, receiving team, first down.
So the penalty called on Steve Wilson for the illegal block. And Denver will take over with 5.5 minutes gone by, 2nd quarter.
This is the wrong time to find out you don't have the right insurance. That's why it's a good idea to see an independent insurance agent before you buy your policy. Your independent agent can give you expert advice on how to choose the right coverage at the right price. And they're offering this free booklet that makes choosing the right insurance a little easier. Get it before you need it. Look in the yellow pages for your independent insurance agent, the more than one company agent.
Up before the sun, got the Honda ATC, gonna have some fun. Going freewheeling, it's my lucky day. Going freewheeling, come on out and play. Take it up, take it down, round and round and round. Going freewheeling, got the Honda ATC, going freewheeling.
Today's game is being brought to you by Lincoln Mercury, offering a complete range of quality automobiles for 1984 from Lynx to Lincoln. By Southern Pacific, 41,000 people working in 18 industries all across America. And by Bud Light, the best has a taste all its own. Marv Albert with John Brody from Mile High Stadium, Denver, Colorado. Sellout crowd, 75,000 on hand. What should the Broncos do right here?
Well, it's funny. Everybody's got their own viewpoint, Marv. They haven't done much. I think you take on their best defensive player. I think it's Lester Hayes, and we haven't seen anything going in his area.
You're saying go right at Hayes.
Well, we'll get to it in a second.
All right, here's Elway looking the other way, and it's ruled. Let's see. Do they rule it a sack or a fumble? Now it's a sack. Ted Hendricks. Sacked by Hendricks. I thought a little hesitation by the official.
Well, I think he thought it was a fumble, and Ted Hendricks didn't think so or didn't see the ball, one or the other. As you see, when Hendricks gets there before John can even set up, they just fool you defensively. Now, he probably didn't see the ball. He sees it gone right now. He's looking around. He almost falls all over it, but the ball gets out from under him. The Bronx recover. I mentioned something about picking on Lester Hayes. You're never going to pick on him, but you're going to get one-on-one coverage. And if you can't beat one-on-one coverage, it's going to be a long day. I would at least give it a try.
Well, Elway now has a second and very long. And Sammy Wider did not fool the Raiders off the draw.
Nope. Archie Reese made a real fine play. Since coming from the 49ers, he straightened himself out. He's playing good football. We showed you all 6 of those defensive linemen at the outset of the ball game, and they all contribute.
Archie Reese, a member of the Super Bowl San Francisco 49ers, released by the 49ers last year. 6th year out of Clemson, where he was a walk-on.
That's Earl Leggett, the defensive line coach, smiling. He's had a smile on his face ever since McKellen Townsend walked into camp.
It is a 3rd down and 23 back at the 32. It is picked off by McElroy. Van McElroy. Elway looking to air it out, and McElroy with the interception, and we have words between several Raiders and Broncos.
And a penalty back here, so we'll have to wait to see. It's back there where the quarterback was throwing the ball, so you know what it usually is. John fired that ball right into McElroy. Oh.
Holding, number 60, offense, decline, first down.
Paul Howard, the right guard, called for the hold. So the Raiders take over on the interception with 7 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in what has been a scoreless first half.
Compared to the time you spend behind the wheel, 30 seconds is hardly a fair amount of time to judge the handling characteristics of any car. One car recognizes that reality, the Mercury Topaz. Instead of trying to fully explain the advantages of independent rear suspension and front-wheel drive, we invite you to experience the effect for yourself and discover in this free 20-page book a more detailed explanation of Topaz's many advancements. The 1984 Mercury Topaz, a more enlightened approach.
Bring out your past.
I wasn't drafted till the 7th round. They don't even know my name.
Not your best, but wise alive. Bring out your best, but wise alive. Bring out your best.
The best.
Schroeder, huh?
It has a taste all its own. Enjoy it.
This is Len Berman in New York, and in San Diego, Brian Sipe goes back, falls down, stands up, finds Ozzie Newsome, touchdown. Cleveland big over San Diego, 14-3. Back to you, Marv.
Thank you, Len. And back here in Denver, off the interception by Van McElroy. The Raiders taking over at the Denver 36-yard line. Spinning move by Allen, stopped by Randy Grattershaw.
Okay, the Raiders have been up to the task. Every time the Broncos have had good field position, they've kept them from getting any points on the board. This is the first good field position for the Raiders.
It'll be a 2nd down and 9 from the 35-yard line. John, you'll explain
That's
that.
in code. I don't.
Yeah, you'll explain that possession chart, I know, a little bit later on. Allen and King are the running backs. And Plunkett has his man, Cliff Branch, for the touchdown. So Cliff Branch, who was outspoken, particularly during preseason, in fact, he said he felt Mark Wilson should be the starter rather than Plunkett. Now Cliff is all smiles.
Yeah, I don't understand why a guy would come out and make a statement like that about a teammate who has taken him as far as Jim Plunkett has. I mean, if you take a look at how many ball games he's been in a row where they have won, I mean, 8 out of 9 last year. They've won them all this year. And Branch has helped. That's true. But how many quarterbacks are going to put the ball where that ball was thrown? And he does it whenever Cliff gets open deep.
All right, Chris Barr, who has had a rocky season, but it has not mattered because they have not needed his leg, able to put it through. He's missed 2 extra points, and he's missed 3 field goals. And he has just given the Raiders a 7-0 lead. Incidentally, Branch now says he is very pleased that Plunkett is the starting quarterback.
Good.
Get rid of your old muffler. The new Arrestor Plus muffler is now on sale at Kmart K-Care Auto Centers for just $19.88 installed, and it's warranted for as long as you own your car. Kmart's best 4-ply tire is on sale, too, starting at $29, and it has a 25,000-mile wear-out warranty. Service, value, satisfaction. At K-Care Auto Centers, that's a promise we make, and we make good.
Where'd you get this price? That's not the weekend rate you promised me.
Of course it is, sir.
No way.
Would I lie?
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm positive, sir.
Only National guarantees weekend rates. Just $19.95 a day or less for any car up to this old Cutlass, guaranteed. And if we don't deliver, you'll get $50 off your next rental. We give you national attention, and that's the truth.
All right, and we're getting set for the Raider kickoff. Cliff Branch with his first touchdown reception of the season. Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
Channel 24, KSEE, Fresno.
A deep kickoff by Chris Barr, not allowing the return. Zach Thomas staying in his end zone.
That may be the first ball that Chris Barr has ever kicked out of the end zone. They've talked about the strength in his leg. Early in the year, he kicked a couple in the end zone against Cincinnati, but that baby was clearly out of it. I know the air is thin, but that was a long one.
And the scoring drive that was set up by the interception by McElroy. So the Raiders now lead it 7-0 on the 35-yard pass play. 1st and 10 for Denver at their 20-yard line. Watson in motion. And Elway to the ground. And the Denver offense going nowhere. Rick Barros stopped easily. The Denver Bronco offense last in the National Football League in 5 different categories. First downs per game, average yards per game, third down efficiency, average gain per play, average gain per pass. In other words, John, they've been going nowhere.
That cannot be placed on number 7's shoulders either, because there are certain things that I think he's having a little problem with. But his personnel is not up to the top teams in this league. Their defense is great. It's been carrying them, but they need more offensive personnel.
Needs more weapons.
That's right.
This is Poole, and he has the first down. Nathan Poole stopped by Matt Millen. A 14-yard pickup. So a first down at the 34-yard line. Over the first couple of games, and we saw Elway against Baltimore, there was the feeling he was aiming the ball, that he may have been tight. You see better throwing motion?
I don't think he's as good as it'll be. I don't think it's John Elway relaxed and raring to go like I've seen him over the past several years, but I think it's better than it was in Baltimore.
move by Winder. Sammy Winder coming off an excellent rookie year. And he alternated with Dave Preston and Gerald Wilhite. Wilhite has been out. He led the team in rushing in preseason. He's on injured reserve with a hamstring. He is eligible to return next week, but that is uncertain.
Well, they need a Gerald Wilhite because he is a dimension coming out of the backfield as a pass receiver at San Jose State. Remember, he played for John's father, Jack, and they do throw the ball around down there at San Jose State.
Elway with time. Watson, first down. Oh, he's out of bounds.
I think we may see that was a nice hometown call.
Well, that's right. They called it inbounds. So it is a first down. Let's go to our studios in New York.
Well, Marv, here's another one that counted. This one at San Diego. Dan Fouts goes back for the Chargers. Remember, they were trailing. He pumps it, throws in the end zone. Eric Seavers touchdown. That narrows it to 14-10 Cleveland. Marv?
All right, Len, so Watson ruled inbounds on the reception. First down at the 46 of the Raiders. And Winder hit back at the line. Archie Reese on the tackle. Winder tried the stutter step off the circular movement, but could not find a hole, so it'll be a 2nd and 10. Archie Reese, whose name has been called frequently in this first half. Raiders continue to shuffle defensively as they rotate among Long and Kinlaw and Alzado and Townsend, Piquel, and Reese. And here's Winder. Sammy Winder for a first down.
That goes down as yardage picked up rushing. All right, they've run 3 draw plays, and those have been their big gainers. It is a little misleading when you say we picked up this much ground on the ground. They're beating the Raiders at their pass rush. They're trying to slow it down a little bit. This is as good a way as I know. They have been effectively keeping this drive alive.
McElroy and Barnes on the stop. 10-yard advance by Winder. First down at the 35-yard line. Now Winder and Paris, the running backs. A reverse for Upchurch. And he throws one for Watson.
I'll tell you, Lester Hayes knows what he's doing back there. He was standing waiting on that play from the time it was given to Rick Upchurch. Now, Upchurch has got a fine arm, but you would think he'd be a little concerned about an end around. That's the second one they've run. He's back there watching Watson from the time the ball was centered. That's alert defensive secondary play. Okay, here they flip it out, a little pitch to Peros. Peros hands it back to Upchurch. Now he's going against the flow. Nelson wasn't fooled, number 51, but the man that was just waiting on the play was Lester Hayes down here.
Well, we mentioned earlier that Dan Reeves might go to the gimmick, the gadget plays, and we've seen several already. 2nd down and 10.
2nd and 10 is a tough time to run gadget plays.
All right, Elway now for Winder. And Sammy Winder ruled out of bounds at the 27, so 2 yards short of a first down. Just under 4 minutes left. First half, 7-0 Raiders as we check the scoreboard. Colts maintaining the lead over the Bears, now 19-12. Rams in front of the Jets, 14-7 in the second.
John Robinson is doing pretty well, isn't he?
And that will not be a friendly crowd in terms of the Jets. If the Rams continue to maintain that lead. 3rd down, 2. This is Paris for the first down. Inside the 25. Matt Millen, Lester Hayes on the cover-up. Now let's go to NFL 83 in New York.
Marv, it's all over in the American League East now. The Baltimore Orioles have clinched it, knocking off Milwaukee 5-1. They will now face Chicago in the American League Championship Series. Back to you.
All right, so the Orioles have won the American League East.
And Denver has picked up their first 3rd down conversion.
first down at the 23. That's Watson in motion. He's being waved by Elway. And that's a mix-up. The tight end, Jim White, not able to throw on it. And the Raiders do. Looked like a broken play.
Well, there's players thrown all over the field back there, but whenever you have a play that's where you've got to wave somebody in motion, you know things are a little confusing. They're trying to get the ball off before the 30-second clock goes down again. They've had one of those already today, and Sammy Winder is down. They can ill afford to lose him. Elway got his hat handed to him as he was trying to hand the ball off, and they lost it on top of that. So that kind of won't get it. Look at this. You can tell when this starts, you're in trouble, folks. Now everybody for himself, right? Whoops. Mike Davis was on a safety blitz. He got to Elway before he could hand the ball off, and Piquel recovers the fumble.
A rookie out of Rutgers, Bill Piquel, who has played so well, coming up with the fumble recovery. Broncos turning it over for the second time. Winder shaken up as he heads back to the bench, and the Raiders will take over at their 34-yard line. 2 minutes, 58 seconds remaining first half off the 35-yard Plunkett to Branch touchdown. It's the Raiders 7, Broncos nothing.
Jim Plunkett is quarterback of the Los Angeles Raiders. In his 13 years in the NFL, he's known great moments of victory and periods of despair. But Jim Plunkett always kept trying. He never gave up.
Hello. It's a lesson I learned from my parents, and they taught me never to quit. You see, both of my parents were blind, but that never stopped them. They raised a family. They gave me a chance to be whatever my vision could make me.
As a United Way volunteer, Jim teaches others the lessons that his parents taught him.
Sometimes the mere sharing of the beauty in a single flower can open a new experience for someone, even if they never see it. Perhaps through people who cannot see, we can all come to understand and learn the lesson that life is what you make it. And what you make it is up to you.
You know, thanks to you, it really does work for all of us the United Way.
The preceding announcement furnished as a public service by the National Football League.
When Jim Plunkett says life is what you make it, he means it. And he's made quite a bit out of it. As his career was going downhill after 10 years, he jumped back about as well as anybody ever has at that position, and he's loving it now.
Plunkett with the handoff to Allen. Marcus Allen across the 40-yard line. Reuben Carter, the nose tackle. Randy Gradishar, the linebacker, combining on the stop. So 7-yard advance, second down and 3 at the 41. Marcus Allen averaging 4.5 per carry in the backfield now, along with Kenny King. Again, showing good balance. It appeared the Broncos had him down, and he was able to recover. Then Walt Boyer, a 10th round draft pick out of Arizona State, number 65, making the stop.
And he made a fine stop, but it was like Tom Jackson just stuffed the play at the line of scrimmage. Now he had a blocker in his face, which is why he couldn't get his arms around Allen. But their linebacker play is something to watch.
It is just short. So it'll be third down and less than a yard. And the family called the Barrel Man races around to the various sections here at Mile High Stadium and leads cheers. He now has the chant of defense going.
And I hope they're listening.
Denver Broncos have allowed only 33 points in 3 games. So their defense has played well. The problem has been offensively thus far this season. And it's a first down. Allen, very active on this series, has picked it up. And we approach the 2-minute warning. Here it is. It It's the Los Angeles Raiders leading the Denver Broncos 7-0, and we'll be back in a moment.
I'm glad I met you. With Aetna's new Econoflex Universal Life Insurance, I'm covered for $100,000. For $1.12 a day.
And with Econoflex, my money starts earning tax-deferred interest at the current rate, no matter how high.
And when I can use a little extra cash, Econoflex actually lets me skip some premiums.
New Econoflex Universal Life Insurance from Aetna.
Aetna, I'm glad I met you.
I thought Canon came up with personal cartridge copying just to simplify my business. Why else would they make maintenance as easy as changing a cartridge? But now, Canon's PC-10 and PC-20 are minding everyone's business. Even my dentist has one. He changes copy colors faster than you can say, ah. Canon's PC copiers. Now they're minding everyone's business. Hey, these are mine. Oh.
We'll use gas.
For information, call toll-free. Canon Personal Cartridge Copying. Plain and simple.
Undefeated knockout artist John Collins battles tough Tony Simpson. Then powerful women attack the bar. And the Gold Cup Unlimited Hydroplane Race. Boxing, barbells, and boats. All on the season premiere of NBC's Sports World.
Back in Denver, Colorado, Marv Albert with John Brody. And a Stanford alum by the name of John Elway.
Yeah, he knows it's tough, and there's an awful lot of heat on him back here, and we've gone over all that.
All the scores and highlights from around the league coming up at halftime on NFL 83 as Plunkett is sacked. And the play is whistled dead. Walt Boyer, the rookie from Arizona State, on the sack.
That amazed me because Jim evidently didn't see him, and he was coming right in his face. Now, normally if a guy hits you blind, it's from the backside, but take a look. Plunkett, he is looking down the field. He has no attention on the line. Now he's looking down. You would think something would tell him somebody's coming. It didn't. Now he knows a little late.
Second time that Plunkett has been sacked. And it sets it back to a 2nd down and 20 at the 37. Raiders 7, Broncos nothing. Here's Allen. Marcus Allen stopped by Steve Wilson. And a timeout being called by the Raiders. A minute and 25 left in this first half. And up coming at halftime, along with rundown of scores from around the NFL, we'll be taking a close-up look at John Elway.
You can't do it alone, but he doesn't have a long time to learn, and Dan Reeves knows it's really an uphill battle for him. You can see Dan there. He would love to find a way to solve the problem. He just feels that in Denver they needed a shot in the arm, and now that he has inserted John Elway, he's certainly not going to get into a quarterback war. Steve DeBerg coming off the bench, helping him in the 2 wins that they did. It's helped Steve's situation, but I do respect the position Dan's taken, and I think down the line Elway's going to be a great player.
Interesting article in yesterday's Denver Post concerning Steve DeBerg. Apparently there was a report that DeBerg's contract calls for his earning 10% more than the Broncos would be paying Elway should he start at least 9 regular season games. It turns out that was in his contract back with the 49ers, but he signed a waiver, and it is not in his contract here with Denver.
And he made sure that he went and let the front office of the Broncos know that.
3rd down and long for Plunkett. In trouble. The screen. And Allen is hit across the 40-yard line, so the Broncos played it well. Lewis Wright and the nickelback, Roger Jackson, on the stop. I could just see if that were in the contract of Steve DeBerg here with Denver. Suddenly, if Elway got hurt, you'd see Gary Kubiak starting games. Gary is the 3rd string quarterback, and then DeBerg would come on.
I understand. Jimmy Plunkett, had one good play for a touchdown. Other than that, it's been kind of slim.
A lot of Stanford folks out here today.
Yeah, one's a little long of tooth, I'd say, but...
Isn't that a shot of John Brody from his college days at Stanford?
You got it. I'm glad they put Albert in there and Garrett. At least I feel at home.
Talking about Frankie Albert.
You got it.
So a pretty good group of first-round draft picks among the quarterbacks who have played at Stanford.
And they've got a young one. They've got a young one down there at Stanford now, John Pay, who is a freshman. And he's taken his lumps, just as Elway is in his first year in the National Football League, but he's going to follow right along in the footsteps of Elway.
A minute 5 remaining in this first half, and Ray Guy will punt for the first time today. It'll be Rick Upchurch as the deep man. Dan Reeves has not used Upchurch very much this season. Did not use him at all in the first game on punt returns.
I do not think, Marv, that you will see the Broncos open up and get too wild at this stage. There's less than a minute, 59 seconds left in the half. A turnover would certainly be turned into points for the Raiders. And the way they've been playing offense, I think there's a much better chance of a turnover than there are 3 points. So we'll see what Dan decides to do.
34-yard punt for that man, Ray Guy. It's spotted at the 24. And the Broncos trailing by the score of 7-0. First down at their 24. 59 seconds left in the half. Winder and now Preston in the backfield. Dave Preston, a solid pass receiver. Penalty marker down.
Holding on.
And Elway was nearly picked off again. Ted Hendricks had a shot at it.
And he really got hit by Pickell. He moved out of the pocket, tried to hang in there a little bit long, put something on the ball, and he really got labeled.
Rick Townsend went over to check and see how Elway is.
Well, he's not okay, I'll tell you that. All you have to do is stay with the quarterback. Don't take a look at the ball. He gets the ball off, stands right in the face of Pickell, number 71, who comes around as a block offensively. Very clean hit, but a very vicious one.
And a timeout is called by Denver. Bill Pickell, the rookie from Rutgers.
You can see Steve DeBerg's got his helmet on. I do not expect that the Broncos will try to do much from where they are now.
And here comes DeBerg, who has become a favorite because he has come out of the bullpen on 2 occasions and has won games for Denver, but that is usually the case around the NFL. Incredible how the man coming off the bench, be it second or third string, is usually the crowd favorite.
Well, yeah, he is till they start him.
Right.
Then they try to run him out of town. I know how that game works.
From personal experience.
It's just stand up and have a go at it. Don't let those things interfere with your thinking, but sometimes it does. It's easy to say, sometimes it does. I think everybody has a natural tendency to enjoy being liked, and they're used to being liked, and all of a sudden you see it go the other way, you don't like it.
Off the holding penalty, a first down and 20 from the 14. Nice play action for Winder. Sandy Winder running it across the 32-yard line. The strong safety, Mike Davis, on the stop. And timeout is called with 45 seconds remaining in the half. Steve DeBerg did not play at all last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, we're having problems with the microphone on the referee, Dick Jorgensen, who called the offside against the Raiders, which was declined by the Broncos. Steve DeBerg thus far this season, 68%. He has thrown 2 touchdowns. Came off the bench to beat the Steelers and the Colts. 2nd down and 2. And DeBerg. Incomplete. Sammy Winder should have had it. Lester Hayes on the coverage along with Rod Martin. And DeBerg gets popped right here.
Yeah, it's nothing personal, Marv. When you have that ball in your hand, everybody's fair game. Here comes the other rookie, Greg Townsend. Just gets to him. They throw those quarterbacks around like they were bouncing balls.
Townsend, a 4th-round draft pick out of Texas Christian. Pickell, a 2nd-round pick out of Rutgers. 3rd down and 2. 40 seconds left in the half. Raiders 7, Broncos nothing. Flag down. And a hold called against Denver. Looked to be Dave Studdard, the left tackle.
Holding, number 70, offense, decline, 4th down.
No, it was Studdard. In his 5th season out of Texas, called for the hold.
Well, it's pretty tough to keep somebody off the quarterback when he's trying to send a receiver down there 20 yards without grabbing a hand in there somewhere. Now it's 4th down. A good punt return could put the Raiders in a position to pick up 3 points. 34 seconds left in the half.
And Luke Prestridge is back at his 12-yard line, punting for the 5th time. Greg Pruitt is back. And Pruitt trying to cover up. And he does. 26 seconds remaining in the first half. A 42-yard punt by Prestridge. And both Prestridge and Guy have had enjoyable first halves. In fact,
they've had a lot of action too. You don't see Greg Pruitt miss very many balls. He missed one earlier in the ball game. This is the 2nd muff he's had, and he's fortunate he got on both of them.
Thin air must be appreciated by Prestridge. He improved his punting average a good 5 yards as opposed to his individual game averages against Pittsburgh and Baltimore on the road.
Talked to him before the ball game, and he said it adds a little, but I'm a great kicker.
All right, Plunkett unleashing for Allen. Marcus Allen to the 30. Mike Harden running him out, down to 18 seconds remaining of the half. Raiders now go with Cliff Branch, Malcolm Barnwell, and Calvin Muhammad as their receivers. 2nd down and 5 is coming up at the 31. Raiders at 3-0, beating Miami this past Monday night. Beating Houston and Cincinnati. They've allowed only 30 points in 3 games. Clear-cut #1 defensively in the league. They've allowed only 3 points in 3 games in the first half. Here's Allen. Short pickup. And the clock is running. Walt Boyer on the tackle. And a timeout is called by the Raiders with 6 seconds remaining in the half.
1 play left. Everybody out for a long one.
Here's the final score. Last season, Raiders had the best record in the AFC at 8-1, but lost to the Jets in the playoffs, turning it from that 7-9 season back in 1981. A reminder, beginning on Tuesday, October the 4th, stay right here at NBC for all of the excitement of the American and National League Championship Series. Coverage beginning Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at the home of the National League West Division winner. So stay with us for all of the exciting playoff action in both leagues right here on NBC Sports. And as Len Berman told us earlier, Baltimore Orioles clinching the American League East earlier today. So the Orioles and the White Sox will go in the American League playoff series.
Taking a look at Johnny, still looks a little bit groggy. You don't just come back in a flash from those kind of licks. And I think it's a wise choice to wait till halftime when somebody can see whether or not he is capable of playing in the second half.
All right, 6 seconds left. Final play of the half, and here's Plunkett. And he fires it down, looking for Muhammad, and broken up by Foley. And that will wrap it. So that's the end of the first half with the score of the Los Angeles Raiders 7 and the Denver Broncos nothing. The only score, 35-yard touchdown pass to Cliff Branch.
In the search for higher and higher technology, the driver is finally being rewarded with a special kind of Mercury Cougar. Cougar XR7 Turbo. Electronically fuel injected and turbocharged to boost the power of its 4-cylinder engine into the realm of 8-cylinder power when you demand it. And instead of 4 shock absorbers, you have 6 for exceptional stability. We've assumed you want more than good looks. The 1984 Mercury Cougar XR7 Turbo, a more enlightened approach.
With all these points, the record's mine, that's clear. Let's buy our man a nice cold beer. Bull! Bull! You get a big bone blue when the bull is here. The sleds not like a bull.